Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So first of all, if it looks like I've been crying, it's because I just came back from therapy, but I thought what better way to finish off my therapy than to film a YouTube video. So you guys really seem to enjoy one of my previous videos titled The Great Book Unhaul of 2022, and I have actually been meaning to do a lot more stuff like that since I've been home, since I am permanently making my move to Minnesota. So I wanted to document this like decluttering process and just the process of like moving books to an entirely different state. So in that previous unhauling video, you guys saw me unhaul this shelf behind me, which is like my main bookshelf that houses all my hardcovers and newer series and copies. But in that video, I hinted that I had another bookshelf that I wanted to clean, and a lot of you guys showed interest in me cleaning that one up. So that's what we're gonna do today. So for some reason, cleaning this shelf that I'm gonna clean today scares me even more so than this one back here, because I don't know what's in that shelf. So to preface this shelf behind me, like I said, houses most of my like newer copies, my hardbounds. But that shelf, the one that's hanging on the wall, and I'll zoom over to it a little bit later, but that one that's hanging over my dresser is what I call my ARC bookshelf. So if you don't know what ARCs are, ARCs, they also stand for Advanced Readers Copies, right? Yeah, Advanced Readers Copies. And they are basically like bound, unedited manuscripts. Sometimes they have like the finished cover on it, sometimes they don't. And they are sent to reviewers, booksellers, bloggers, booktalkers, bookstagrammers now, for early reviews. And I don't know like the nitty-gritty of like ARCs and everything, so I'll leave a lot of great informational posts in the description down below talking more about them. As an early blogger in like 2015, that's honestly where I learned about ARCs, was from other reviewers and other people talking about them. But it is such an honor to receive anything from anyone at this point. I think I've like kind of like got that in my head right now. But I remember when I started early blogging and I didn't know about ARCs, it kind of became something that was like you know, like attainable, like, oh, this was like a goal that I wanted to reach, was like getting sent ARCs from publishers. So I eventually did, and in order to keep track of the books that I received and the reviews that I still needed to write, I created an entire bookshelf for them. So that is the story behind my ARC bookshelf, and now my ARC bookshelf houses books from like early 2015, for early blogging years, to like I don't even know when. Like I don't know what's there, and I'm slightly scared, but I'm excited to finally clean them out because I have been meaning to do this for the longest time, and I've kind of just like left them there and then like come home for the holidays and looked at them and been like, okay, I'll clean you out next time, but I've never actually done it. So I'm very proud of myself. It is currently Christmas Eve and I am doing this even before the new year starts. Like, new me. And I want to put a little bit of a disclaimer. A lot of these on my shelf, they're not all the ARCs I've ever received. A lot of the ARCs that I receive now are obviously in my apartment in Minnesota, and then a lot of them are actually on this shelf because I like to keep them with their like finished copies. So I think a lot of those are just a lot of the older ARCs that I've already written reviews for. There also could be like a lot of just random things in there. Again, I don't know what's in there, but I know that there's just like a bunch of random books in there, so we're gonna go through them together. That's the fun part. I think in the previous video, a lot of people were also asking what I was going to do with my books after, which is a great question. And I think for ARCs, it's definitely more important to have this discussion because it is illegal to sell ARCs. Well, you shouldn't be selling ARCs anywhere. They are, you know, marketing dollars from a publishing company that decided to send it to you. You should not be selling your ARCs anywhere. So I will not be selling my ARCs anywhere, not on my Pango, not to anyone, but I will be giving them away to some friends who really have like a connection with some of the finished copies of the book. So I have some ARCs up there that obviously I have some friends who really enjoyed them. So I'm just gonna give them the ARCs because ARCs are, you know, sentimental for a lot of people. It's like the unfinished manuscript in your hands. So I think it's pretty cool, and a lot of them are signed. Another thing that I like to do with my ARCs, but I know this may not be accessible for everyone because not a lot of like states have them, is little free libraries. They are like the best place to leave ARCs because people can still read them. They're not unreadable. They're just like not what my preference is for reading these days, just because again it's unedited to a certain point. So I prefer like a finished copy to read like all the edits and like to read what everyone else is reading so that I can provide like, you know, a more succinct review for like readers who want to read the book. But anyway, so what was I saying? So yeah, I like to leave them in little free libraries, and here in New York City in the like immediate metro area, we don't really have any, so I'm gonna like drive upstate. We do have a lot in Minnesota though, so I might bring some home and leave some in the little free libraries. And then the last thing that I do if I can't, you know, give them to my friends or put them in little free libraries is to give them to the after school that I attended when I was a kid. I donate books to there all the time, and they really appreciate my donations, and I realize that a lot of people don't mind the ARCs. A lot of people don't even know what ARCs are, so they'll just read the copy as if it were just a book that they like found at the library. So I'm going to donate the rest of them to that after school so that they have a bunch of new copies to read, and they have a lot of younger kids, so I think that even though these books are quite old, they're still going to reach the target audience. Okay, enough chit chat, we're actually going to do this. And in my last video, you guys were hilarious, and I was just suffering. I'm allergic to dust, so when I was cleaning these bookshelves, I was like suffering so hard, and y'all were like, this girl is still suffering, and like not, you know, stepping away from her bookshelves even though she's suffering. So I will be wearing a mask while I'm cleaning my bookshelves today, just to prevent myself from, you know, choking up from the dust. So I'll be doing that. If you see me wearing a mask, that's why. But yes, please join me as I clean my ARC bookshelves, and I'm going to do a little once over of them, but I'm super excited to finally give these books a new home because I feel like they've definitely just been collecting dust on my bookshelves. As with all of my like unhauls, this is going to be a very chaotic vlog style, so if you're not here for that, definitely wrong video for you. Wrong video for you. But this is going to be a very chaotic mess of me trying to figure out where to put all these books and cleaning stuff. As you will see on the shelf, I also just have random stuff on there, so we're gonna parse through together. This is gonna be very interesting. So the sun has decided to come out for us today, which is great because I kind of want to do this in like broad daylight. So these are the shelves in question. They look like a mess. Like, I'm just gonna say it because I feel like someone's gonna say it in the comments that they just look so bad. So these two shelves over here, my sister kind of took them over. Again, she's in fashion, so she has a lot of like clothes and like bags and like hats and everything, so she just kind of took that up because there's very little space in like our dressers. These sit on top of our dressers, by the way. So yeah, these are my shelves, and mostly everything I think is filled with books. I think except for that shelf too. That one has like candles and stuff that I received, but everything else is pretty much all ARCs, or all books of some kind. So we're gonna look through them together. Hopefully I can clear them out because I really want to, like, I don't know if you can see that there are like double layers. There's probably triple layers, honestly, I'm not really sure. But I kind of want to have enough, like I might keep some ARCs, but I want to have enough layers so that I can like see like the books, just all the books like in one layer and not like double layer or like stacked behind. And also, like, I hate when books are stacked like this, like you know, horizontally rather than vertically, because like I just I can't. So we're gonna tackle this today, and I'm excited. So before I go into the video, I wanted to show you what an ARC looked like if you don't know what an ARC looks like. So this is an example of an ARC. This is from Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. One of my favorite books. This is such a good book. And ARCs will always have like a little sticker on it. This one says advanced reader's copy, not for sale, and then it says the on sale date and then the publishing company where it's from. A lot of them look like this. A lot of them will just be like this and not have like the publishing company on it and just say on sale whenever, again, not for sale because you can't sell ARCs. And then what's interesting about them is that on the back, they will have a bunch of like early fans buzzing, and it will tell you like all the details, like where it's from, where to find them, what's the target audience, the ISBN, just a bunch of details. Sometimes they'll even have like the whole marketing, like what they're doing with it, like the publicity campaign, like they're sending to like early reviewers and whatever. It's honestly really, really cool, and just having experience from having quite a few ARCs, it's just really cool, and it's like a fun little fandom thing to read like a book that you're excited about early. That was always something for me because I would receive ARCs from my favorite authors or for series that I was waiting for books for, and that was just one of the best feelings in the world, was to like be one of the early readers reading a series that you like love so much and you didn't want to have to wait a whole year before the author released the next book. Okay, so I have the famous brown bags here, and we're gonna open them and start putting some books in. And I know that these probably won't take up that much space or as much space as the hardbacks because most of ARCs are like paperback. So I will have like a lot of room. And then I have my mask, and I'm gonna be wearing a KN95 because I don't want to take my chances. I just really don't want to feel uncomfortable the day before Christmas. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, first book going in the bag. Ooh, I already have such a good story for one of these books. Oh my god, so I found my arc of Final Girls by Riley Sager. And this one was, first of all, it's a great book, but also this one was really cool because I remember that the publishing company was doing like some type of photo contest with this book, and I actually won the photo contest. So I don't know if you can see here, I took a photo of Final Girls in the woods on like a little Polaroid, and then I took that Polaroid on like some book pages, and they sent me like a framed copy of my photo and then a sign. It's signed by Riley Sager, and that is just so cool. And like I love this, that I'm like going back through old memories and sifting through a lot of the books that I really loved, but I feel like I'm gonna keep this one because of the memories attached to it. So this is what it looks like when an ARC does not have a finished copy, like a finished cover at the time of the release of the ARC. I think this one was just an instance of like a really, really early ARC because I received this almost like more than a year in advance, and they just didn't have a like cover created already. And then what they do is they'll probably send out like another batch of ARCs with the finished cover on it. I don't remember this book at all, so I don't know what it is, but it looks like a good book. I mean, it looks great. No freaking way, guys, I found my Kindle. Oh my god. See, I knew I would find some shit in these shelves because I'm like, I have not looked in here since like, again, 2015, and it's literally getting so dusty, like I might have to open a window. But I found my freaking Kindle. I'm actually so excited. Let me know if you want me to do a video talking about what's in my Kindle, because I haven't looked at this bad boy in 10 years. So I think it will actually be so cool. Like, I promise, I haven't looked at it. It's totally drained of battery. But let me know if you guys are interested in me doing a video of what's in my Kindle, looking at my Kindle for the first time in a decade. I think that would be so fucking cool. But I'm so excited. Ah, this is so fun. Such a big Jennifer Armentrout fan. You guys might know J-Law now, and I actually met her once, but I remember I used to get ARCs for like most of her books, and I was like always so excited. Now I'm not really that much of a fan anymore. But look, it's signed. This is a signed copy by Jennifer Armentrout. This is really cool. I am definitely going to keep this one because it's signed. I am going to keep most of my signed copies just because, again, they have a little bit more like sentimental value. Okay, so I just finished the first two shelves. Oh my god, so dusty. Oh, it's even dustier than my other shelves because at least I use those more. I have the ARCs that I want to keep, and then currently I have 3 bags of ARCs that I am either going to give away or see if my friends want them and leave them in little library. So I'm going to tackle these 2 now. But oh my god, wait, I just noticed this too. Do you see what these are? Do you see these? These are Broadway playbills. So I live in New York City, and one of my guilty pleasures is watching Broadway shows. I freaking love Broadway. I'm a show tunes girl. I love singing as well. And my dad is actually the Broadway buff because sometime in like 2020, he was winning all of the Broadway lotteries. And guys, I kid you not, when I tell people that my dad was like winning the Broadway lotto, like every single day, they don't believe me. And I'm like, look at how many shows he's been to. These are both our collected playbills, but like more than half of these are his. And I'm like, look at all the shows that he's won for not for free, but for subsidized costs. And I'm like, you guys don't believe me, but he has gone to so many Broadway shows. So this is his stack. So I think I'm gonna take it and then like probably give it to him, or I want to find some way to like get these framed, honestly, or turn it into like a book or something, but that might be for like a project for like another time. Look what I found. I found this book. It's a Japanese book. Everything is written in Japanese. And this, I think I bought this in the city in a bookstore called Kinokuniya. And I was learning Japanese for literally like 5 years. I was a student in college in Japanese class, and I was learning for 5 years, and I still can't really read like fluently, but I would say I'm like okay. Like I know all the like characters, the hiragana and katakana, but I just think this is so cool, and maybe I might take another stab at it. But I've been like looking for this for a while. I found this box while I was cleaning, and I don't know where the ARC is. I can't find it, but this is the mailer that they sent for Children of Blood and Bone. This was so exciting for me to receive this ARC because I remember it was a huge, which publishing company did this? It was just a huge title at the time, and everyone was raving about it. I think it already had like a 6 or 7 figure like movie or TV show deal when it was announced. So it was like a huge thing, like they sold the film rights or whatever. And they sent this mailer that came in this box, and it was so pretty, and there was really cool things. There was like tattoos, but I don't know where the ARC is. I think it's probably with me in Minnesota, but I definitely like am keeping this box because it has sentimental value. And if you guys have read this book, you know how good it is, so you should definitely read it. I also just have like a bunch of like ripped out book pages. See, when I was like a hardcore bookstagrammer in like 2016, something that I used to do, because ARCs, again, you can't really resell them. You can't really do anything with them after you've read them. So I used to rip out the pages in the ARCs. I know, very sacrilegious, but I used to rip out the pages and then I used to like lay them down to do flat lays. I'll insert some like examples of some bookstagram photos that I've taken with them. Oh my god, it's so dusty. I can't talk though. But I'll insert some photos that I've created using these like book pages. But that's also a great idea if you are starting bookstagram and you want some like ideas of how to like I didn't really have the best like filming places. Like I didn't have a nice white rug, a nice white sheet, so I would just lay these down in order to kind of create a backdrop but not let you see like what's behind it. And it was really cool. I used this like idea for like the longest time. I think even today I still kind of use it. Also, another tip for bookstagram is if you throw these in the air with a really is it high shutter speed? Yes, with a very high or low shutter speed, it'll like, the pages will like look really cool in the photo. Again, I'll insert some photos. I used this pages idea for like one of my senior for one of my final projects in like photography class, and people were obsessed with it, and I just wanted to tell them like, oh my god, this is something I do every day for bookstagram. But it was really funny that I like use this technique. But again, it's really versatile what you can do with like these pages, and it's a great way to use your ARCs, especially if you have a lot and you like don't know what to do with them. Also, another thing that I just found, I'm literally just like going through my bookshelves and like the things that I find. This is just an amusing process for me. I hope it's entertaining for you. But I found one of my favorite books of all time when I was 12. It is When You Reach Me by Rebecca Stead or Steed. This book was so good. I feel like people really just don't talk about this enough. Actually, it won quite a few awards and it was very popular in its time. This book made me sob as a 12-year-old, and it's still, even when thinking about it today, it's like so profound. I'm like, how was I reading this when I was a kid? This book is so good. Definitely check this out if you have like a younger person in your life, or even if you enjoy like middle grade. I think this is definitely a book that you should check out, and I'm very excited that I found my copy because I was kind of looking for it everywhere. I really wanted to buy another one in the store just because this book has a lot of sentimental value to me. But I believe I stole this one from my like 5th grade class or whatever grade I was in when I was 12. I think I stole this from my school though, so like. Alright, I have finished all the shelves with books. Literally so tired, and I'm starting to feel my eyes itch even with my mask on because I realize I don't have like goggles, but that is okay. As you can see, sorry I sound so out of breath right now. As you can see, I have accumulated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags of books. So that's great. So that's actually not that much. I thought it was going to be a lot more, but like compared to like how much I had for the last video, that is a walk in the park. But I think for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean those shelves, and I have a little garbage bag that I attached to my dresser because I think I'm just going to like throw some stuff out that haven't been used before, or donate them. So I'm just going to like look through that, especially in that shelf because I know there's like a bunch of like papers and like bookmarks and stuff. So I think I'm just going to throw a lot of that out, and packaging and like probably some candy wrappers. I don't freaking know. But whew, I'm so out of breath. Alright, and here are the final shelves. I finally finished. It is like way later, and I even tidied up a little bit on my little desk here, and these are my shelves. I love them so much. Honestly, it was giving me a lot of anxiety to see them all messy like that, so I'm really glad that the books that I chose, see there's only like one layer and there's like nothing behind them, so I don't have to like go scramble for books. But I just kind of kept like arcs that I like really loved. So for example, like this is my favorite book, The Astonishing Color of After, and I just kept the arc. I have Arena, a lot of just really meaningful arcs to me. The Broadway playbills are up there, and then a lot of these are finished copies, so I just like put them on one of the shelves. And then up there we have just like the little knickknacks that like I couldn't throw out, and that box has like candles in them. These two shelves, again, these are my sister's stuff, so I'm not going to go through them. I'm not even going to touch them because I don't want to hear about it later, but I am so happy with how they look. Everything just looks so tidy and organized. And again, we left off with about 5 bags of books. I was able to like go through them a second time just to make sure, and I did take some books out so it looks a little bit less, so I might combine them into one, like compile them so that I only have 4 bags of books. But yeah, that's how it's looking right now, and I'm so happy. So this process of cleaning these bookshelves has definitely been more fulfilling than cleaning out my bookshelves over there, because like I said, I haven't touched these bookshelves in almost 5 years, so I even didn't know like what was in them and what I was gonna find. So it's been really fun documenting this process of cleaning and finding, you know, reliving old things. I definitely had to throw a lot of things out, which for me, someone who is very like I feel now I get a lot of anxiety when I have a lot of things, so it was really hard to do that. But I had to acknowledge that though a lot of those things were from like my teenage years when I was not very good about being a minimalist and maximalizing on the things that I did have instead of buying new things. So I just kind of had to give myself that grace and acceptance and tell myself that it's okay that I had to throw a lot of stuff out. I tried to donate as much as I could, but there were some like just icky things that had been like used personally that I don't think people would like to be used again. So, but I did, as you guys saw me going through the process, I found so many things that I just like I'm so excited for, honestly. It's just renewed excitement. So I'm gonna show you some things right now. So the first thing I found here, which I'm honestly not that much of a fan anymore, but this is sentimental value for me. I used to be the biggest Throne of Glass fan. Like, Throne of Glass was definitely one of those books I read early in my like teen years, and it made me obsessed with books, so I kind of credit that series. So I found this wooden bookmark. It says "You could rattle the stars," which, if you didn't know, is a quote from the book, and it has Sarah J Maas's signature. This is her autograph. I met her, I think it was at a Polycon in 2016, but this is like a wooden bookmark. I personally really love these. If you're reading like floppy paperbacks and you just kind of like put this in there, it's so nice. So I think I might use this for my current read right now. But again, I'm not really that much of a Sarah J Maas fan right now, but I was obsessed with it. I even had a pillow. So it's just really nice to have found this again. I think I had this custom made. I'm pretty sure I had this custom made. I'm not really sure, but this creator, I don't think they're making bookmarks anymore. It makes like wooden bookmarks, and I brought this one with me to a signing and got it signed. The next things I found were my diaries from my teenage years, especially this one. This one's so old. It's like beaten up. This thing doesn't even like work anymore, but I looked back to the first entry, and the first entry was from 2016. Like, that is cringe. January 2016. This is definitely like a very big finding, just because these were definitely from my years where I wasn't really doing well in terms of mental health, and I've been meaning to find this one to read back at some of my entries to see like the place that I was in and to see how far I've come. So I'm definitely going to be reading through this. It's a very nice Christmas gift on Christmas Eve today that I'm finding this, so I'm excited. Now this blue one here is a little more recent, and it just kind of has like ideas and notes, like drawings of like random things, but I'm excited to have found this too because it is like empty, like this entire other half, so I definitely want to use this one now. Okay, and the last thing I unearthed from this bookshelf was my freaking collection of magnetic bookmarks. So one thing you have to know about me as a teenager is I just loved collecting things. It definitely a very clutter. I loved clutter. I loved things. I was very materialistic, and I personally, the person that I am now, am not that person, and I don't want to become that person, but I was very materialistic when I was a kid, and I loved collecting things. So I had a bunch of just random collections. Like, I collected stickers, I collected bookmarks, I had to like go through my bookmark collection. I collected books, obviously erasers, like those food eraser thingies. But another thing that I collected, which I'm actually glad to have found because I might sell these, are magnetic bookmarks. There was this specific one maker, I think her name was Jane, but she created these magnetic bookmarks in her style, and these are like the Stranger Things ones. I don't know if you can see that. There you go, look at this. This is 11 from Stranger Things, and it's a magnetic bookmark. These are honestly pretty cool, and I have all of them now, so I'm actually really excited that I found these because I love her bookmarks, and I just like seeing like a little collection. So yeah, I'm excited. I literally found this like in the depths of the bookshelves. But that's pretty much all for this video. I think I'm going to wrap up the video there, and thank you guys so much for joining me. If you're watching this video, Happy New Year, and definitely stay tuned for more decluttering videos. I definitely want to do more of these things because I feel like it helps me so much. It makes me feel accountable for documenting this process, because without it, I don't think I would have been cleaning my bookshelves if you guys didn't like respond so nicely to my other video. So that's for today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!